there. Here with my friend, I don't know what you'd call him, styrofoam head guy. Working on week 11 here this week, in the midst of the coronavirus quarantine that I'm sure everybody's dealing with. That coupled with some really crappy weather outside, decided to bring my photo shoot for week 11 inside. And I'm going to be doing a double exposure with this styrofoam head that I've Sharpied black, put a black hat on it. I'll be using 8x10 film. Not exactly sure what film I'm going to use at this point. Probably HP5, maybe Delta 100. I got to see what the lighting looks like. But the plan is I'm going to take the picture of the head on the white background. I'm going to really blow out the background, and I want this to just be a silhouette. So on the film, what I'm going to get back is this area will be basically unexposed. And then the second part of the photo shoot, I'll go outside or get some interesting detail that I'll take a picture of in the place of this head, and we'll get a really nice double exposure. I've done it many times, 35 millimeter, medium format. I've never done it with 8x10, and I think I can get a really good effect because the double exposure will be a little bit easier on 8x10. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to draw the outline of this head on my ground glass with a erasable marker of some sort. So then when I take it outside, I'll know exactly what the unexposed area of that film is in the head, so that when I double expose it for my second part of the photo, I'll know exactly where I need to be. Should be pretty interesting. Just kind of getting started here, just getting set up, so stick around and I'll show you what we do, and hopefully we can come up with a really good photo this week. So you can kind of see the effect I'm trying to get here. I'm trying to flood the white background with as much light as possible, so that I wanted 5 or 6 stops above what I'm getting on the silhouette mannequin head here, and it's just going to be a silhouette. So this part of the frame, the silver will not be exposed. It's just going to be black. This is going to be blown out, and then we'll go outside and we'll be able to get a second exposure in this area. It should give us a really cool effect. Like I said, on the 8x10, I think it's going to be even better than the experiments I've tried with medium format. Just going to be bigger film. I'm going to be able to get a real nice detail outline of that head, so I know exactly where it is on my piece of film for the second exposure. I'll show you what this looks like on the ground glass, so you can kind of get an idea. So this is the view of my ground glass. I've filled the frame as much as possible with the silhouette of the mannequin head. And then I'm going to take a dry erase marker and I'm going to outline what you're seeing there, so that it'll help me to line up the second shot a little bit better. I think that's going to be the difference. That's what's really going to work well with the 8x10 film, because I'm going to know exactly where the first exposure is to get my second part in there. Excuse me. I think I'm probably going to do something outdoors. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to put in the head, in the silhouette. We'll see what that brings tomorrow, but that's what the back of the glass looks like right now. So right now I'm metering. The background is about 5.5 stops brighter than the silhouette, than the styrofoam mannequin. I think that should be good enough. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to shoot this thing, but I would think 5.5, 6 stops should give me where the silhouette is completely black and this is totally blown out. I'll play around with the light a little bit more and see if I can't get that a little bit greater, but I think 6 is probably going to be sufficient, and if I could get it 6.5, I think I'd be even more confident that it's going to work out. Okay, now I'm trying to do a little math here. I've got it from 6 stops brighter on the backdrop than I am the silhouette. I'm going to shoot this. I've put the backdrop in zone 8. That makes my foreground in zone 2, or my silhouette in zone 2. Should be pretty dark. I want to underexpose each exposure by 1 stop. So I was thinking I was going to go f5.6 at 1/8 of a second. So what I'm going to do, since 5.6 is wide open, I'm going to back this down to f8 for 1/8 of a second. That should give me a 1 stop underexposure on everything, so that my second exposure turns out perfect. And I'll underexpose the second shot as well, 1 stop. That's just general practice for double exposures. So I think we're in pretty good shape here. I'm going to shoot 2 of them. So I think what I'll do is I'll shoot 1 at f8 and 1 at f5.6, 1/8 of a second on both. So we get the film holder loaded up and we're going to take a shot. One more quick rundown of the setup here. That's hopefully what we're going to get, the silhouette there. Something similar to that, where the silhouette is completely dark on a blown out background. You look at the ground glass here, might be a little difficult to see. I guess you can see it. I've traced that outline on the glass so that when I take the second shot of the double exposure, I know where my unexposed silver is. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm still thinking of a few options of what I'm going to do for the second exposure. I'm going to shoot the first one at f8 for 1/8 of a second. That'll be 1 stop minus the metered values. And then the second exposure, I'm going to shoot at the metered values at f5.6 for 1/8 of a second. And we'll see what happens. And that's it. We'll see you tomorrow when we take exposure number 2. Out here at Seward Bluffs this morning, looking for the second part of my double exposure that we started yesterday. And I had an idea that I wanted to do this creek and make it kind of winding creek right into the head, or the silhouette of the head. And I kind of thought it might be a little flooded, and as you can see, it's very flooded. Over here on the other side of the bridge, yeah, it's definitely flooded pretty good down there. So it kind of changes my plan a little bit. Then I was walking up here and I saw something else that I think might just work really cool. So let's take a walk down here and take a look at this. And I've photographed these things many times in all different seasons, and they're still really cool to me. I'm just worried about the contrast. And that is these awesome stairs. It's old limestone steps that go up to the top of the hill. There's a shelter house up at the top of the hill. But I'm wondering about filling the silhouette of that head with those stairs. So I think I'm gonna go grab the camera and set it up and see what it looks like. But I think it might just work. All right, so I got the camera all set up here. You kind of see what I got going on. I'm actually using it's not a lens for an 8x10. It only covers about 5x7. It's a 210 millimeter Schneider instead of the 300. And I found that looking in the ground glass, I'm getting a little bit more in the foreground. It's a little bit wider. It is going to clip on the corners, but that's okay because we've already blown those out with the first exposure. So there's really nothing, there's no silver there to expose. So it shouldn't really matter that we've blown out the corners, or we're going to block out the corners basically. 210 millimeters. You're going to start in the foreground right here, and then the steps are going to go up through the silhouette of the head. I think it'll be pretty cool. Also got my brand new red Wanderer photo cloth, or dark cloth, arrived yesterday, so this is the first time using that. Pretty excited. It's really cold out here this morning, a lot colder than I expected. So I'm going to work kind of quickly here and get these two photos taken, and we'll get back to the studio and we will develop them. So as you remember yesterday, I used a dry erase marker to draw an outline of that silhouette, so I know exactly where the unexposed part of the film was. So I was able to line up the stairs with that. Let's go under the hood and take a look at that. So there we are. We have a real nice stairway climbing right into the silhouette. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Taking our two shots, I did f8 for an eighth of a second and a quarter of a second. That was -1 stop on the first exposure, and then as metered for the second. We'll see how they turn out. Overall, I hope this works out. It's a good project. Man, it got really cold out here this morning. That wind is really starting to blow. So I'm going to get this all packed up, head back to the dark room, and we'll develop some film and see what we got, and hopefully we got a good project. We'll see you in the dark room.